Planet Earth hosts a diverse range of breathtaking phenomena in many shapes and forms. However, there is one natural wonder that every living soul should witness in their lifetime. This awe-inspiring spectacle is known as the Aurora Borealis. This documentary follows a group of students from the University of Central Lancashire as they journey to the Arctic Circle to write a book on life beneath the Northern Lights.
So here we are in Björkliden at last, and this project was about more than a year in planning. We came up with the idea because we were working with the astrophysics students and staff last year, and they happened to mention that it was going to be the best time in about hundreds of years to see the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights as we know them. So we thought, well, why not do a book about that? Why not do a film about that? It would be amazing to see it. So we planned it so that we would be here at the right time, which is March 2013. And we have been here for a few hours, and already we have seen the aurora in its full glory. It's beautiful. And behind me you can see the beautiful landscape that we're in Björkliden, which is near Abisko. That is in northern Sweden. So we're in the Arctic Circle, just about. But it's just stunning to wake up in your cabin and see that view. We've got 9 people with us altogether. They are going to be filming. They're also going to be shooting some shots for the book. There's some creative writers. They're going to be writing myths and legends about the Sami peoples, which are the original people who lived here in this area. But also we're hoping to get some facts and things like that about the aurora. So this book altogether will be a complete overview of the Northern Lights and those people that live with the Northern Lights and the impact that it has on their cultures and communities.
We've just arrived at the Ice Hotel, which is in Jendisjärvi, which is about an hour and a half away from Björkliden, where we're staying. And I think it's important that we come to the Ice Hotel because it's world famous and quite a big tourist attraction. And so hopefully out of today we'll be able to get a few good photos and ask some questions which will help provide a bit of content for the book.
So this is the Ice Hotel, the original one. And the degrees around here is always -5. The weather, it doesn't matter. If it's -40 outside, it's always -5 because of the material we use. That's a mix between ice and snow that we have named Snice. We have 65 rooms and 30 are art suites, and then we also have ice rooms, snow rooms and northern light rooms. And the art suites, they are all different from each other. Artists from designers from all around the world come here to create each room. And the design is new every year, so that's funny to see. We have the Tone River actually behind the Ice Hotel, and we harvest around 5,000 tons of ice there. So the material is very close to us, and we harvest March, April, and we can keep the ice. So the ice you see this year is actually 1 year old ice. So it's quite funny to say that we can keep the ice for the whole summer, and then we can use it, and it will be the same.
My name is Stefan, and I work as a guide for the Björkliden resort. Today we have come up to the turf cottage. We have about a kilometer away from the hotel. We bring people here for our Northern Light snowshoe walks. It's a short walk up here, experience in itself, walking in the dark. And if we are lucky during the walk or the walk back, we might catch an aurora as well. So if we're going to make a fire once we get to the turf cottage, the birch will help us with that. The outer bark is perhaps the best fire starting material you can find in these parts. So I'll just take the flakes that are loose, not to damage the tree itself. And when we gather the tinder, it's a bit damp, so I'll put it inside my jacket. And once we get to the turf cottage, it should have dried enough to be good to use. The trick when making a fire in a place like this is to be well prepared. So we have the tinder, I have it in my bucket here, it should be dry. What we want to do as well is use small sticks to start with. But what I do, I place the knife on the wood, on the size I want. I take another piece of wood and I use that as a handle. That way I can cleave small pieces of wood relatively safely without actually using an axe. All I need is the knife. And what I want to do when I'm starting a fire, I don't want to put too much wood in it to start with. So I'll just put these sticks in there and grab my tinder, break it up a bit. Use the candle. And there you go, you see it's burning bigly. And once I got it burning a bit, I just gradually add small pieces of wood.
On day 3 of their trip to the Arctic Circle, the team headed north of the border to Norway. Here they gathered information about the Battle of Narvik that took place during the early stages of World War II. Whilst here, the group managed to collect still images and video footage of the stunning landscapes and the many species of life roaming around the area, before heading back into Sweden to visit the Natura Mabisco. This centre provided the group with additional content for the book about the native Sami people, who are protected under the International Convention of Indigenous Peoples, and reindeer herding, which was used as their means of food, clothing and trading.
So, first I want to say welcome to Abisko. Abisko, in my opinion, and the opinion of most of the people in the world who care about the auroras, is one of the best places on the entire planet to see the lights. You have come for a pretty active time of the season, actually. We've had quite a bit of really, really nice auroras. I'm happy to tell you that the aurora forecast for the next few days is actually quite good. So my deputy, Sandra, she's going to be your guide tonight. She's a super, super nice lady. I have no doubt in my mind you'll like her. So we're going to take you to a place called the Sami Camp. The Sami Camp has some really, really nice photographic opportunities. It's also protected a bit more from the wind tonight. But there are shells of teepees without the skin, so you could do some really interesting creative work where you're shooting up through the teepee. There are some really interesting Sami architecture there, so it's a really, really cool spot, and I think you'll really enjoy yourself.
I'm Adam Whittaker, astronomer, and I'm writing the science section of this book, about half of the book, roughly, at the moment. And I'm just going to talk about the science of the aurora. It's basically a product of the interaction between the Earth and the Sun. So the Sun produces the solar wind, which are extremely energetic, electrically charged particles that stream out from the Sun at about 1 million miles per hour in every direction. And when they hit the Earth, they run into a magnetic bubble that the Earth is enclosed in that we call the magnetosphere. And the interaction between those two means that gas molecules in our atmosphere can get excited. And what I mean by that is the solar wind delivers energy to them, energizes them, they get energetic, they move around a lot. And of course they have to return to the previous state of not being so excited, and as a result what they have to do is get rid of the energy they've gained from the solar wind, and they do that by releasing light, and we see that manifest as the aurora borealis. So you can see the correlation between how busy the sun is, how active the sun is, and how spectacular the aurora are. So obviously the more spectacular the aurora tells us that the sun's more busy.
The Björkliden mountain resort, where the team stayed, sits 60 miles northwest of Kiruna and 420 metres above sea level. Overlooking Lake Tornestrak, the second deepest lake in Sweden, it's a remarkable 131 square miles with a frozen surface of 15 metres thick ice during the winter months. After a fire in December 1967, the resort was rebuilt, adding ski lifts and an additional 80 cabins that helped in its reconstruction, prompting a takeover in 2005. Since this, new cabins, restaurants and shops have been developed to attract more tourists. The expansion saw the resort host the 2010 Swedish Championship in alpine skiing. This remote location provides the perfect opportunity for its tourists and residents to take part in multiple activities. Astonishing views with minimal light pollution whilst observing the aurora borealis at night time. On their last night searching for the aurora, the team split into a couple of groups. The first, consisting of 2 members, had the opportunity to learn the scientific reasoning of the Northern Lights before taking part in the first flight, soaring at 20,000 feet above the clouds and witnessing the pure beauty and phenomenon that is the aurora borealis. The second team ascended 500 metres up the steep mountain via a ski lift to reach the summit at the Abisko Sky Station. Here the group were able to capture these stunning images and time-lapse of the Northern Lights.